Well, we've been, this system's been around for a long
It's
time
hanging there,
Yeah.
yeah.
and still trying to form into a storm.
And I'm thinking about it. We're all kind of concerned, obviously, a heavy rainfall, heavy rainmaker. That's the biggest concern. But it could be a lot worse. Let's face it, we're late August here. And, we remember Katrina was in late August, too. And that had winds in the Gulf of Mexico at one point up to 190 mile an hour. But this one, nowhere close. It's got 35-mile-an-hour winds, and it's going to be a tropical storm. That's definite. It doesn't appear that it's going to get to hurricane status, though, before it eventually makes landfall up in the Big Bend area of Florida. That's what it looks like right now. That could change. We'll watch it very closely. Mike, getting this shot just recently as some storms have rolled through already. Appreciate that from Longboat Key. That was this afternoon. And you can see from the Van Wezel webcam, some pretty nice day, and then showers and storms rolling on through, producing some locally heavy rain. The atmosphere has the tropical appearance to it, and that means when you get these storms, they could produce up to 2 inches of rain in a short period of time. We had the first round move through, and that one in particular did bring over 2 inches of rainfall to parts of Sarasota County. And then look at all this moisture well away from the center, kind of streaming in this general direction. So that's what we're going to have to deal with over the upcoming 3 days, it looks like now, as this system, which is really located right about here, the center of low pressure, as it moves slowly off to the west-northwest. Now, I mentioned the rounds of showers we've already had, more developing to the east of Northport, but not as intense. I think we'll see a little bit more action tomorrow, especially in the afternoon and evening, and some of those storms I mentioned could bring some locally heavy rainfall. The ground is already saturated. Here's what we had just the past 6 hours, really just a couple of hours. That's all it took to produce nearly 3 inches of rainfall just to the east of I-75, also near the Venetian, up to an inch and a half there. And it looks like right on Casey Key, nearly 2 inches of rain. And that all happened from about 2 o'clock up until around 4 o'clock this afternoon. This is the rainfall forecast. I wanted to show you this once again. This is over the course of the next several days until Friday morning. One forecast model depicting that most rain will occur here, even if it does make landfall to the north of us. So rain is the biggest issue, with the possibility of some tropical storm force winds, but we'd be on the low side if it follows that path mainly to the north of us. If it's a little bit further south, we could get a little higher tropical storm force winds here. Obviously, we'll have to watch that closely. 82 degrees right now. Dew point way up there, 74. And the high, despite the clouds, still very warm, 93 above average. And the rainfall at the airport, 3/100ths of an inch, I should say. For the month now, we're still below average, but that should change pretty quickly here over the upcoming 48 hours. 95 in Tallahassee, 82 in Sarasota, 75 though in Arcadia, Punta Gorda at 77. The Gulf water temperature 85 degrees. So there's plenty of heat content in the Gulf of Mexico for this system to get organized. The one thing that's been stopping it has been a lot of shear, and there's been relatively dry air around it. That shear is expected to weaken as it makes its way to the west-northwest into the central Gulf of Mexico here. And that's the reason why we think this will be a tropical storm by 11 o'clock tonight, or possibly by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Top winds are at 35. Reconnaissance aircraft not really showing strong winds with the system at this point, and that's a result of that shear that was taking place. But now we're starting to see more development near the center, and it should be, as I said, a tropical storm moving off to the west-northwest, then moving north up to 50-mile-an-hour winds on Wednesday. And then you can see this is making landfall in the Big Bend area, but it could be down in this end, or it could be up here, closer to the Tallahassee area. We'll see how that plays out, but the top winds up to 65, so probably a tropical storm all the way through its life cycle and then out into the Atlantic as we follow through that. As far as the water temperatures go, very warm throughout this region. That's one of the upsides for this to develop and strengthen into a tropical storm, and a strong one at that. The shear forecast, this is a hostile environment where you see the blue, but where you see the bright orange there and pink, so that's a little bit better and conducive for development, and that goes through Tuesday and even into Wednesday. Then eventually it becomes a little bit more hostile by late Wednesday and Thursday. That's another reason why we don't expect it to strengthen into a hurricane. That dry air is still kind of hanging on to the west of it, but things are starting to moisten up, and look at all that moisture to the east of where the center is, and that's all going to be streaming in our general direction. So as I alluded to, the biggest concern for us will be the potential for heavy rainfall. There's another storm out there too, 8. This could become Hermine before the one in the Gulf, but we'll see how it plays out. There is a tropical storm watch out for the Outer Banks of North Carolina, but that is going to turn off to the east too as a result of a trough that's building over the southeast. And the major hurricane, obviously way out there, again, continues to push off to the east. For the forecast, 70% chance of rain, and then an 80% chance on Wednesday, Thursday, even into Friday. It will still be breezy with temperatures into the mid-80s throughout much of this week.